Utility workers and the members of IBEW 1245 are not the first group of workers to see their jobs threatened by the winds of technological change. In 1910, almost 12 million Americans worked in agriculture, but by 2015, machines had reduced that number to less than 2 million. So what about utility workers? Is it possible to protect our work and our livelihood? The short answer is yes, and we can look to the Longshoremen's Mechanization and Modernization Agreement of 1960 to see how organized workers protected their job security even as new technology and work methods dramatically changed the nature of their work. Longshoremen are the waterfront workers responsible for loading and unloading cargo from ocean-going ships. The International Longshore and Warehouse Union, the ILWU, was the leading edge of the great labor uprising that included the utility workers who organized IBEW Local 1245 at PG&E in the 1940s. Under the leadership of Harry Bridges, the union won rules to make longshore jobs safer and more secure.
Now that the men have resumed work and are secure in their right to be hired from the hiring hall, are back at work again, we feel that we have gained a big victory.
They established minimum sizes for crews or gangs and welcomed mechanical innovations like rope slings, pallets, and forklifts that lightened their load. Overall, the victories won in the 1930s and 40s meant that more and more control over the conditions of work went to the workers, where it had been exclusively held by employers. But there was a downside for the workers. Moving cargo by crane and forklift reduced the number of men needed to do the work. For Bridges, the challenge became capturing some of the profits the companies would earn through mechanization for his men to offset the risks of unemployment and a reduction in demand for workers on the docks.
The longshoremen are skilled in placing the cargo. The winches are run by electricity, and the men must always be on the alert. Parts of the load may fall off, or the wire ropes break, or the men may be hit by the heavy hooks.
In the 1940s, unloading a 10,000-ton load of sugar had required 6,650 man-hours. But by the early 1950s, this had been cut to just 1,000 hours. The workforce needed to handle the warehouse end of such a load had declined from 80 men to just 8. Ore had been shoveled and carried in hand buckets, but mechanization allowed a clamshell loader to move 13 tons in a single go. Then, in the mid-1950s, this revolution in how cargo was handled culminated in the move to containerization. By one estimate, containers increased the productivity of longshoremen by an astonishing 40 or 50 times, and in the process, made many traditional longshore jobs obsolete. While many of the members felt that control of work conditions was enough to ensure their futures, Bridges understood that mechanization was unstoppable, and that the days of handling cargo piece by piece, what longshoremen called hand jive, were gone forever. Though he faced great dissension, Bridges eventually persuaded the men that their livelihoods would be secured only by negotiating the best deal they could in the face of this new technology. The Mechanization and Modernization Agreement was signed in October 1960. Employers gained the right to put in any new machine or method they wanted. However, safety could not be compromised, there could be no speed up, and the work could not be onerous. The grievance machinery remained in place for the union to enforce these protections. The deal ensured that ILWU members retained their jobs and that any reduction in the numbers employed as a result of new technology would happen by retirement rather than result in unemployment for longshoremen.
I remember when the employers used to sit down and argue with me, these ship owners around about it. It took us years to straighten them out. That they was really in business to give us jobs. They gave me that kind of a line. So, look, get on your own side of the cockeyed table. I represent the workers. You're in business to make money. And when we agree on that, then we'll take it from there.
As the technical transformation in shipping and the handling of cargo changed the game for longshoremen in the last century, so too are technological changes sweeping through the utility industry now. Traditional fossil fuel generating plants employed hundreds of men and women, but newer technologies like wind, solar, and combined cycle plants, combined with smart grids, are more efficient and employ far fewer workers. Smart metering alone has cost Local 1245 1,000 jobs. Automated data processes have similarly cost data entry jobs. At the same time, new sectors like electric vehicles, energy efficiency, and battery storage offer lots of new opportunities for our members. Many of these changes are unavoidable, as new technology and automation render some of our jobs obsolete. But like bridges in the past, we need to focus on ensuring that any new technologies or work practices that affect us result in minimum job losses and don't undermine the safety standards that we have already established. In 1990, IBEW agreed to adopt rubber gloving on energized lines at PG&E. Once the union established the safety of the practice, it negotiated with the company so that workers who agreed to it got a pay premium, but no one was forced to adopt it. And then in 1993, when PG&E wanted to downsize, we negotiated voluntary severance and early retirement incentives instead of layoffs. And more recently, we negotiated to push out the closure of Diablo Canyon by 9 years, guaranteeing members jobs until 2024 or 2025. It's important for us to know what's coming and to have clear and successful strategies to deal with it. Understanding our history is the first step, and like bridges and the longshoremen before us, being well organized is a close second. In this ever-changing economy, unionized workers are in the best position by far to manage these transitions, ensure their own futures, and get the best deal from employers.